Good morning, students. I am Srimati V.V. Ramalakshmi, Senior Lecturer in Civil Engineering from Government Polytechnic, Vikarabad. The subject we have been dealing with is hydraulics, and the code of the subject is 18C 403C. The topic we are dealing with is fluid pressure measurement, and in that, the subtopic for today will be practical applications of hydrostatics. The duration of the class is going to be 50 minutes, and then I'm going to teach you with the help of some sketches and photographs. So let us see the objectives of today's class. On completion of this session, you would be able to understand about the about the engineering applications of hydrostatics and about sluice gates, then the pressure acting on sluice gates, then center of pressure on sluice gates, practical applications of sluice gates, and now let us see the recap of the previous class, what we have done in the previous sessions. So in the previous session, we have discussed in detail about the calculation of total pressure and center of pressure on the vertical side of a vessel containing two liquids of different specific gravities, and also we solved some simple problems on total pressure and center of pressure on the vertical side of a vessel containing two liquids of different specific gravities. So these were the topics which we had done in the previous class. Now we are going to go into the applications. That means where this concept of total pressure and center of pressure is going to be applicable. So this topic, because it is about the fluids at rest, it is called the hydrostatics. What we have been learning in the previous classes is about all about hydrostatics. Now let us see the engineering applications of hydrostatics. So where the concept of the center of pressure and the total pressure are all applicable, or where they are going to be useful. So the study of hydrostatics has been utilized in the design of hydraulic structures like sluice gates, log gates, and dams, then overhead water tanks. Then all these are the applications. Then hydraulic devices like lift, crane, ram, etc. So first, let us have a look about the sluice gates. So if you see in the dictionary, the word sluice means it's an opening. So the gates means it is a way for passing or letting. So sluice gates means it is an opening for letting out the water. That means it is in several hydrostatic hydraulic structures, the openings are necessary to allow the water. The flow of the water is regulated by means of gates known as the sluice gates. Then this sluice gate is made to move up and down with the help of the pulleys and rollers. Moreover, the sluice gates are used for pipe culverts and tank sluice with tower head. So students, we have seen these applications of hydraulic structures in all these places. Then finally, the roller gates are used in the dams. So we have seen irrigation structures wherein we have observed in your irrigation drawing subject, you have seen in some of the drawings, in some of the structures where which are related to the hydraulic structures. That means if you see an earthen bund or a tank sluice, a tank sluice is a structure which is completely covered by a tank. The tank means it is filled with water, and then the all round you have the bunds, earthen bunds, to enhance the storage of the water. Now, to let out the water from some place, from the water has to be made to come out at some at a particular place from the inside to the outside. Otherwise, it is of no use just storing the water. So, the tank sluice with tower head is a structure wherein you have a well-like structure and you have an up and down movement of the shutter-like structure. So, the shutter, when it is raised in the season, in the crop season, for a particular height. So, based on the duty period, the quantity of water will be let out, or the discharge will be let out through the gates. So, the sluice gates are going to enhance our irrigation purpose and other places. So these, now I think you have come to an understanding that sluice gates are one of the major applications of the hydrostatics. Let us see how the pressures are applied on the gates and how are we going to analyze the center of pressure. So let us go more into detail about this sluice gates. So students, is it not interesting and really thrilling to know about all these things in relation to the in regard to the civil engineering structures? So a sluice gate looks like this. So this is the rectangular structure. So here on either side of the gate you have water, and this is the gate. So the total pressure on the sluice gate, how it is analyzed. So water is standing to a height of H1 on the upstream side and to a height of H2 on the downstream side. And then you have the center of pressure in the upstream side as H1 bar, and the center of gravity of the gate is x1 bar, and x2 bar, h2 bar, and capital H2. These are all the similar terms for the downstream side. So upstream side will be usually on the left hand side, and downstream side will mostly be on the right hand side, because as we are all aware that water flows from the higher level to the lower level. Usually higher level is indicated by the left hand side and lower level to the towards the right hand side. Most of the time we indicate in that way only. So the upstream, from upstream side the water goes to the downstream side. So now let us see what is this sluice gate. So let small b be the breadth of the gate. Gate is nothing but a structure which enhances letting in and letting out. See, if you have the gate of the college is going to make people enter inside and make them go outside. If you close the gate, no one can enter or no one can go out. So similarly, for the entry of water and exit of water, these gates are very much useful. So to let out the water in a particular quantity. So now the small b is equal to breadth of the gate, small d is equal to depth of the gate. So the area is equal to, so because it's a rectangular area, you have b into d. Then coming to the Ixx, that means the moment of inertia, you have b into d cube by 12. Then coming to the X1 bar, which is the centroid of the gate on the upstream side, and similarly X2 bar, small X2 bar is the centroid of the gate on the downstream side from the free surface, not from the bottom. So whatever is the level, from there only the uh, distances are reckoned. So let the capital P1 always stands for the total pressure. So the total pressure on the upstream side, and then capital P1 is calculated as we have discussed in the previous classes. We have derived an expression for the total pressure. So that is going to be W A X1 bar. So this is a standard equation we had seen whenever a body is immersed horizontally or vertically or inclinedly. Anyhow the body may be immersed, the total pressure is not going to change. So it is WA X1 bar. Then coming to the total pressure on the downstream side, it is P2. Then P2 is equal to WA X2 bar. Now coming to the resultant pressure. So the pressure on the upstream side is P1, the pressure on the downstream side is P2. Because these two pressures are linear, you observe that they are going to lie in the same plane. So they are coplanar. That is why when you have to find out the resultant, this the upstream side water is going to exert a pressure from left to right of the gate, and then from the downstream side water it is going to exert from right to left of the gate. So then this is positive pressure, this is negative pressure. So the resultant pressure is going to be plus P1 minus P2. So that is how we try to calculate the resultant pressure. And then when we are substituting for the resultant pressure, it is WA X1 bar minus WA X2 bar. So WA can be taken common and you land with a value of WA X1 bar minus X2. WA into, open the bracket, you have within the bracket X1 minus X2, and H bar is center of pressure. So here the let capital P act at a distance H bar from the bed level, because you don't know the height of the water from the bottom. So because the bed level is fixed, the top water level is not fixed. So you cannot take that as the standard or as the constant one, because it is going to vary. The bed level is always constant. So here the y1, the distance y1 is the capital H minus small h1, and y2 is capital H minus small h2 bar. So h1 is equal to x1 plus ixx by ax1. So this expression already we have seen in our hydrostatics discussion, and H2 bar is equal to x2 bar plus Ix by Ax2 bar. Ax2 bar. So now from the principle of moments, we have the resultant force into the center of pressure will be equivalent to the moments of the individual forces which are acting on either side of the gate. So P1 into Y1 minus P2 into Y2. So H bar is, bring this P together downwards. So P1 Y1 minus P2 Y2. So the sluice gates shall be treated as a vertically immersed body acting upon by liquids on from both the sides, because on both the sides you have water. Now let us see a numerical example of sluice gate so that you will understand the concept more better. So take down students one problem on the sluice gate. A sluice gate of breadth 1.2 meters and depth 3 meters is provided under a wall. The height of the water on the upstream side up to the top of the gate is 4 meters, and on the downstream side above the top of the gate is 2 meters. So calculate the total pressure and center of pressure for this gate. So here this is the sketch showing the gate, and here we have, so draw a rectangular gate, and below that the sluice gate. This is the rectangular wall which is going to let out water from underside of the wall. So here you have the 4 meters of water standing on the upstream side and 1.2 meters which is standing on the downstream side, and here you have the height of the gate is 3 meters. So let us see how to analyze this gate. So small b is equal to breadth of the gate, that is 2 meters, and small d is equal to depth of the gate, that is given as 3 meters. Now let us work out the area. So students, try doing the area. So area is b into d, that is 2 into 3, that is 6 meters square. Now coming to Ixx is BD cube by 12, that is B is 2 into 3 cube by 12, that is coming out to a value of 4.5 meter to the power of 4. Then coming to the X1 bar, which is centroid of the gate on the upstream side from the free surface, that is equal to 4 plus 3 by 2. That means it is 3 by 2 is 1.5, so 4 plus 1.5 you get a value of 5.5 meters. Now x2 is equal to centroid of the gate on the free surface, that is 1.2 plus 3 by 2. Then it is a value of centroid is 2.7 meters. So now let us see the analysis of this sluice gate. Now coming over to the P1, that is the total pressure on the upstream side, you have WA X1 bar. So 9.81 into 6 into 5.5. So you get a value of 323.73 kilo newtons. Now coming to the P2. P2 is the total pressure on the downstream side of the water which is standing on the right hand side and applying pressure on the sluice gate. So P2 is equal to WAX2 bar. So this is the standard equation. WAX bar is the standard equation. Specific weight into area of the body into the CG distance from the top. So the CG is 9.81 into 6 into 2.78. So you land with a value of, what is the answer students? 158.92 kilonewtons per meter. So that is the right answer. Now the resultant pressure capital P is, as I told you, because the forces are all coplanar and collinear, we can apply the rule of statics. of equilibrium. That means the sum of all the horizontal forces is 0, sigma h is 0. So P1 will be from left to right and P2 will be from right to left. So that is why by following the convention, sign convention, we get the resultant pressure capital P is equal to P1 minus P2, that is 323.73 minus 158.92. You get a value of 164.81 kilonewtons. Now finding the total height of water on the upstream side above the bed level is equal to H1. So H1 is equal to 4 meters is the height of the wall above the sluice gate. So 4 plus 3 is equal to, totally we have a sum of 7 meters on the upstream side. And then coming to the H2, the total height of water on the downstream side above the bed level is equal to 1.2 plus 3, that is 4.2 meters, because 1.2 meters standing water is standing above the top edge of the gate, sluice gate. On the downstream side it is 1.2 meters. On the upstream side the standing water is 4 meters, because 3 is the height of the gate itself. So we have to add and get the result. Now coming to the center of pressure, which is given by small h1. So x1 plus ixx by ax1 bar. So this is coming to 5.5 plus 4 by 5.5 into 6. So you get a value of 5.636 meters on the upstream side from the free surface. And again H2 bar is equal to x2 plus ixx by ax2. So it is 2.7 plus 4.5 by 6 into 2.4. Here 2.978 is a value which you get on the downstream side of the center of pressure. So now let us proceed for finding the center of pressure of the entire gate, because you have two forces, you have two center of pressures. Now for the resultant pressure, the center of pressure, where will it be located? So now the y1 is h1 minus small h1 bar and y2 is h2 minus small h2 bar. So that is 4 point, this y1 is coming out as 1.6363 and y2 is coming out as 1.222 meters. So here when we are substituting for the depth y1 and y2, so h bar is equal to p1 y1 minus p2 y2 by p, because minus sign is there because the y2 is present in the right hand side, because it is from right to left, the pressure applied is from right to left. So substituting the numerical values which we have obtained just now of P1 Y1 and P2 Y2, so we get an answer of 1.5 meters from the bed level. So this is what is the depth of the center of pressure of the gate. Now let us see about the concept of total pressure and center of pressure on a vertical retaining wall having liquid on both sides. So this is again another concept wherein hydrostatics can be applied. So here you have a gate again having upstream and downstream water levels as capital H1 and capital H2. So now P1 is total pressure on the upstream side. That is, at the top you have 0 pressure, at the bottom you have WH1 pressure. So into L into H1. So L is the length in the perpendicular direction of the wall. So that is length into the height. Okay. So it is clear, students. So we have taken the average pressure 0 at the top and WH1 at the bottom. Because it is water on both the sides, we need not differentiate it with W1 and W2. So it is only W. So here you have come with an expression small w h1 square by 2 into L. The total pressure on the downstream side. Similarly, you have 0 plus WH2 by 2 whole multiplied by H2 into L. So P2 is equal to WH2 square by 2 into L. So this is a standard formula which can be used for solving the problems. So now the resultant pressure is P is equal to P1 minus P2. Now let the P1 acts at H1 from the base and P2 acts at H2 from the base. Now let capital P act at H bar. Now taking the moments of all the forces available about the bed level, because bed level is going to be fixed and a good reference level for taking the moments. So P into H1 is equal to P into H1 by 3 minus P into H2 by 3. So H1 bar is equal to P1 H1 plus P2 H2 plus 3 P3 H3. So you have P1 minus P1 H1 minus P2 H2 by 3 times of P, because this P is coming here. It has been wrongly pronounced as P3 H3. So there is no such concept as P3 in this context, because P3 itself is capital P, which is the pressure difference between the two gates. So this by 3 comes here. So 3. So this is the expression for this particular location of the center of pressure. Now coming to the another problem on the application of hydrostatics, we have a vertical wall of length 5 meters and specific weight is holding water of specific weight 10 kilonewtons per meter cube on the upstream side up to a length of up to a depth of 2 meters, and on downstream side oil of specific weight of 8 kilonewton per meter cube is standing to a height of 6 meters above the base. Now calculate the resultant pressure and locate the center of pressure. So here on the left hand side we have specific weight is 10 kilonewton per meter square. On the right hand side it is 8 kilonewtons per meter square. So the height on both the sides is almost same. That is, water is standing equally uh, in equal heights on the upstream and downstream sides. So here we have to see that the pressure P1 is WH1 square by 2 into L, and by substituting 10 into 6 square by 2 into 5, that is 900 kilonewtons. Then coming to the P2, PH2 by 2 into L. So that comes to 8 into 6 square by 2 into 5. So, so you get an answer of, have you done, students? Work out the pressures. You get an answer of 720 kilonewtons. So the left hand side force P1, total pressure is 900 kilonewtons, P2 is 720 kilonewtons. Now the resultant pressure P is going to be P1 minus P2, that is 900 minus 720, that is 180 kilonewtons per meter. Now H bar is equal to P1 H1 minus P2 H2 by 3 into P. So substituting for the known terms, whatever we have calculated just now, so you put the formula, you will get the answer, and then the resultant is 5.5 meters from the bed level. So here you have to see that the H bar is at a depth of 5.33 meters from the bed level. So students, this way we are using the concept of pressure and center of pressure in our engineering problems. Now let us see another problem. A wall on long retaining is holding water to a depth of 5 meters on the upstream and 3 meters on the downstream. Calculate the total pressure and resultant pressure on wall and also CGHS water on wall and also the center of pressure. So here you are showing the wall, retaining wall, and the water is standing to a height of 5 meters on the upstream side and 3.2 meters on the downstream side. So now the pressure P1 will be due to the water standing on the upstream side. So let L is equal to 6 meters, that is the length of the wall, and H1 is equal to 5 meters. Then H2 is 3 meters. So coming to the specific weight, small w is equal to 9.81 kilonewtons per meter cube. So now students, calculate the pressure on the upstream side, that is WH1 square by 2 into L. Try to substitute, and I'm going to give you 2 minutes time. So try to substitute and get me the answer. So now students, have you finished? So what answer did you get? So is it matching or somewhere near 735.7? So any value near to this value is valid, because that is the amount of pressure which is being exerted on the retaining wall. So here again P2 is equal to WH2 square by 2 into L. So 9.8 into 3 square by 2 into 6. 6 is the length of the gate. So 264.87 kilo newtons. Now when you are going for the resultant water pressure, capital P is equal to P1 minus P2. So 735.75 minus 264.87 is equal to 470.88 kilo newtons. So this is going to be the resultant pressure, and for the center of pressure, what we have to do is taking moments about the base, which is fixed, which is a fixed entity. So H bar is equal to P1 H1 minus P2 H2 by 3P. So this is the expression which we have seen just in the beginning of the class, and now try to substitute for the pressures P1 H1 and P2 H2. So you get a value 735.75 into 5 minus 267.87 into 3 divided by 3 into 470.88. 88. So this way you get a value of, students try to do the numerical calculation and give me the answer. So h bar is equal to 2.041 from the meters from the base. So this is the result of the problem. That means the location of the depth of center of pressure. So this way students, we can apply hydrostatics to many engineering problems. In this section, we have learnt about the engineering applications of hydrostatics, then sluice gates, pressure acting on the sluice gates, then center of pressure on the sluice gates, then practical applications of the sluice gates. Then we have seen some problems on total pressure and center of pressure on vertical wall retaining liquid on both the sides. Then the concept of pressure on the dams. So these are all the things which we have covered in this class. So let us see the quiz part of the questions. So what are the sluice gates? So sluice gates acts as horizontally immersed body, vertically immersed body, then inclined immersed body, and lastly none. So what is the answer? So because the gates are standing vertically, so it will be a vertical immersed body. So this is the right answer. B is the right answer. Now coming to the resultant pressure on the sluice gate. So is it P1, P2, P3, that is C1 plus C2, and then the last option is P1 minus P2. So the resultant always, if we have the P1 force is from left to right, that is in the positive x direction, and P2 force is in the negative x direction, that is minus x. So P1, because both these forces are co-linear, the result can be found out by P1 minus P2. So let us check the answer. So where is the answer? Where P1 is upstream side water pressure, P2 is downstream side water pressure. So we have the relation capital P, which is the total force, total or the resultant force on the sluice gates. So this is the main concept in the hydrostatics. So this is the correct answer. Now coming to the third question, sluice gates are provided in pipe culverts, canals, tank sluice with towerhead, all of the above. So the pipe culverts are ruled out because we don't put any sluice gates in the pipe culvert, and in canals also we cannot. We have only shared. Both these are not going to have any relation or connection with the sluice gates. So the only one remaining is the tank sluice with the tower head. As I told you, a well arrangement and a up and down gear arrangement is done for the sake of letting out the water. So the application is the third one, that is here we have canals side, we can apply. So anywhere in the irrigation structures, whatever may be the structure, you are going to provide the sluice gates. So frequently asked questions are the students, please take down this homework as an assignment. So A sluice gate of breadth 5.2 meters here, a sluice gate of breadth 3.2 meters and depth 2.6 meters is provided under a wall. The height of water on the upstream of the above the top of the gate is 3 meters, that is, and again on the downstream side it coincides with the top of the gate. That means water is standing up to the height of top of the gate. So that way we have to interpret. Calculate the total pressure and center of pressure. So I have given you the hint. Now you can go home and do this problem for practice. It looks very simple. So now another type of questions. The vertical sluice gate 4 meters wide and 2 meters deep, hinged at the liquid at the top. A liquid of specific gravity 1.5 meters stands on the upstream side of the gate up to the height of 3.5 meters above the top edge of the gate. So, and water on the downstream up to the top of the gate. Find the resultant pressure and center of pressure. So this is another application of the vertical sluice gate as it has been mentioned. So we have done a similar problem in our class. So try to draw analogy between both these questions and try to solve this problem and find out the resultant pressure and total pressure. So depending upon the given conditions and the given data, please read the problem once or even twice if required, and then prepare the sketch and then go for the solving the problem. Then the third question is a wall 3 meters long retains liquid of specific gravity 1.594 on the upstream side up to a height of 5 meters and oil of specific gravity 0.8 on the downstream side to a height of 3.2 meters. Now find out the resultant pressure and center of pressure. So these are all the questions which we have been discussing throughout this class. So the questions which I have given you for homework are nothing but replica of the questions which we have done in the class. So only difference is the numericals are changed. So keep that classwork question to one side and then keep this also aside and try to solve these questions. I should see all of you doing your homework very promptly. I'm going to check out all your books and then otherwise I will not allow you into the class unless you do the homework. So here we are discussing about the practical applications of this hydrostatics. So here we have seen the various applications and how to tackle problems of vertical walls or the sluice gates, all the structures which are having both sides liquid. That means on the upstream side and the downstream side. So you will have definitely two forces, two pressures, two total pressures, and then when you take the difference of these two, you will get the resultant pressure. So it is very simple, and try to read the questions once or twice so that you will not go wrong in assessing the question. So it's a very simple procedure. So check the conditions what are given. So be careful in tackling this problem. It looks as simple as that, but sometimes even this you can make it more complicated and uh, divide the walls. So the wall is divided on the upstream by the upstream side and the downstream side. It is going to divide both the sides and let out the water from the higher level, that is upstream side, to the downstream side. So this is a very interesting application, is it not, students? So very we feel very much thrilling and excited, is it not, when you are learning something new. And hydraulics also is a subject of very much interest to the students. So you can explore more into the subject by practicing more number of problems. So in the next class, I will be discussing about the practical application of hydrostatics. In that, today we have seen about sluice gate. In the next class, I will tell you about log gate. So get your scale, pencil, everything so that you can also sketch whatever is shown in the screen. So we can try to sketch and make notes of whatever is being taught inside the class. So that will appear like a ready reckoner for you for understanding your subject. So here this sluice gate is analyzed for both the pressures, and then when the downstream water level is to the top, so then water is let out. So we have to look into and see many aspects of this sluice gate. So here with this discussion, I close the discussion on engineering applications of hydrostatics. Further applications we are going to see tomorrow, and see how to solve problems of these engineering applications of hydrostatics. Okay, students, please go home and again revise whatever is being taught in the class, and then do the homework or the exercise problems so that you are not lagging behind or keeping things in pending. So here we are at hydrostatics. So we need a few more days to complete the syllabus, and next we'll move into the flow of fluids, which is again another interesting topic. Hydraulics is full of very interesting and practically oriented subject. So try to get yourself interested and don't divert or deviate from whatever is being told inside the class, and try to go through your textbooks, because